This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the Turtles of Grayskull Skele-Shredder figure, one of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive figures offered for the Turtles of Grayskull. It is also most likely the last item we will see for the Turtles of Grayskull. Now they've got this really nice decorative box here, looking kind of creepy looking. There is some ooze around it and everything else. The top has a rather unique design to it. There are some open spaces here, and it's got a new Turtles of Grayskull logo. So the sides here, kind of boring, honestly. The back has like a SkeleShredder logo to it, which is kind of cool. And the other side is basically the same as the first. So now when we put this forward, we get to open it up by lifting the top up. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And there we have our SkeleShredder in his box with the throne behind him. Isn't he beautiful? The bottom of the jaw opens up, kind of like the drawbridge on Castle Grayskull. We can see his two heads over there, and we can see the figure in the middle. I'm going to pause for a moment and just try to get a long shot here, see if we can see the whole thing. So that would be the full view of the container open. And now if we turn it around, there is kind of like a sewer grating on the back, and that's about it. Bring it back to the front. It does seem that this is designed though, so you can't actually pull it off at the top. So I think in order to get the figure out, we actually have to go from the bottom. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Or real slow is probably what it's going to be. So here's the tricky part, trying to figure out where the bottom starts. Wow, son of a bitch. There's f***ing tape on it. No wonder I can't get the shit out of here. Oh my god. What the F are they thinking? They didn't really design it so the top came off, but they taped everything on the bottom of it. This is the image on the bottom of it. Well, that was a huge pain in the ass. There's like more rubber on that thing than at a frat house after a party. Now let's take a quick look at the throne here. The little thingies here move. I was kind of expecting them to be connected together, so that's kind of disappointing. Doesn't really appear to use any reuse, though, from the throne that came with Snake Mountain for Skeletor, so that's kind of different. Was expecting there to be some reuse. Does not appear to be any. At most, maybe the fur cloth there is, but... And this thing pops off of there easy enough. The heads that you aren't using can just go on these little ball joints here. Will admit that I wasn't expecting, but you know, I guess it's a good way to store them. And that way you can swap them out. This would be the Shredder head and the Skeletor head. Here would be the combo head. Isn't he absolutely beautiful? The hood and the cape are a single piece here, which I was kind of surprised to see that. Take that off. Let's get a good look at that head. Honestly, out of the heads, I think this is the best one. Here's the Skeletor head. Oh, for sake. Here's the Skeletor head on the body with the hood. Not a big fan of that look, but I will say this, at least the mouth is open and it is blank back there, so you can see all the way back to his neck hole. So that's kind of cool. Looks better than that Skele-Shredder mouth, to be honest. Not a fan of this thing here, the whatever it is. You like that? So as an additional quick note here, the Skeletor head does have different eyes, like their size is different. And I've been looking at it for a while now, and it does not appear to actually be like an eye wonk issue or a paint issue. It does seem like it's molded that way. I'm not really sure why they decided to do that, but yeah, I guess even the eyebrow on the smaller eye is larger than the eyebrow on the other side too. Which is weird to think that Skeletor's got eyebrows, but I guess eye ridges. But I just wanted to note that. Let's try the Skeletor head, or the Skeletor, the Shredder. Shred head. Doesn't really come off quite as well, if we're being honest. But still looks pretty decent. His weapon is this Havoc pole sword thing. I'm just going to straight out say I think this is really dumb looking. But what do you guys think? The fact that they keep doing weird things to the shape of the Havoc staff skull too when they do these kind of things is kind of annoying and bothersome. And then it's got a little morning star at the backside. And of course, as we know, they did make it so you can put this big golden thing on his head. It is super duper loose though. So the throne's pretty cool. I am glad that they gave us this extra thing to put the head so that we can display everything together. I do kind of wish though that they had given us something to actually attach this to also to keep it out of the way when he's sitting down. I guess I'll have to see if there's a good way to pose him with it in his hands. I will say I do believe that the easiest way to get the head on with the hood though is to put the head in the hood and then attach that to the body. There are peg holes on the throne, so you can put this feet in there so you can either stand or more likely sit. And actually, for this purposes, let's go ahead and put the heads in place too and get them out of the way. With this came the mini comic here of Havoc is Afoot. Oh, Lord. Also, of course, real quick, before we go on with that one, let's take a look at our parts swap page. Two-sided. And thank God they told us where those poles went, because I never would have figured that out on my own. But here we go again. Havoc is afoot, starring Skele-Shredder and Hordak. By the power of Grayskull. Boom! Twee! Crash! From the Turtles of Grayskull, issue 4, He-Man in a half shell. Come, Shredder, we must regroup and... Never mind. Mortal's so weak, so pathetic. Oh, come back. When will you learn to stop putting your fate in the hands of others, Orokosake? Be they megalomaniac aliens, be they subversive buffoons, or be they cosmic warlords, the result is the same. You lose. It is the vengeance you seek. Vengeance you shall become. It is time to take your fate into your own hands. Embrace the power. Shed the past, Orokosake, and rise anew. Rumble! Power of Havoc shall guide you to greatness and glory. Skele-Shredder. Boom! Where is Hordak? Eternia, what a wretched landscape. I had nearly forgotten how much I loathe it here. Finally, the Fright Zone, a welcome sight. Once I regroup, the power of Grayskull will be mine. Ah, there you are. Skeletor. Not quite. Ah, Shredder, and oh, the Havoc Staff found a new master, I see. No matter. You will die. You first. Crack. Impossible. No one is more powerful than Hordak. And yet here I stand while you kneel, the first of many who shall fall before me. First you, then the Turtles, and finally Eternia. Sss. Up next, the Reptile Wars. That made little sense. So the big thing about, not working with the buffoons, and then he, ends up becoming subservient to King Hiss and whatever. Also, this whole idea that the Havoc Staff is what created Skeletor as he is. So they're going along that lines with this story for how Shredder becomes Skele-Shredder. So he is in fact not a mutated combination of Skeletor and Shredder as suspected previously. Although his skin tone does look like Skeletor's. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation. First up, the head is on a ball joint we saw. Of course, once you have the hood in place, there's not a whole lot you can do. You can do some movement inside there. Like, we can definitely look down. Can't really look up. We can sort of look sideways a bit with the hood there. Now, if we turn the whole hood, we can get a little bit further. Not much. Arms, spin around, and yeah, the hood kind of causes them to pop off when you try to go past it. We can hinge upwards. We have spikes there on the shoulder pauldrons or shoulder armor, and we can hinge down with it. Single hinge and spin at the elbow, giving us less than 90 degrees, normal for this line of figures. His wrist is on a spinning joint, and we have in and out articulation. There we have his claws, which look more like needles now instead of actual blades, and it's on a... it's like a face right there. Some weird-ass skull face thing. Kind of reminds me of an elephant in a way with the way it's shaped. So it's more like, yeah, tusks. He has tusks now on his forearms instead of blades. The belt is new and does have kind of a snake pattern to it down here. Even though up here the harness has the bone pattern. We can, of course, spin around at the waist. Oh. We can kick forward a little bit, about that far. And we can kick back about that far. And we can kick out pretty far, as per usual, which you need to if you're a ninja. Oh, but dang, his joints are rough. We got a single joint in the knee, goes a little less than 90. We can spin, however, there. We can also spin on the boot cut. The boot is 100% new piece here, and it goes well above the knee area, as you can see. That kind of hurt. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. He does have Skeletor's feet here, by the way. And we do have a hinge and a spin at the foot. Our usual with that kind of thing. Ugh. And again, we have his Havoc staff thingy. This is very top heavy, like especially compared to what Skeletor has with his normal Havoc staff. I'm not particularly fond of, I don't know, the whole Havoc thing. And I feel like, oddly enough, it was like the cartoon that I liked, the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from, what was it, 2020? The Netflix CGI series, where they came up with the idea of the Havoc energy being something different from Grayskull energy. And I'm not a big fan of that storyline either. So this is the harness he comes with. He still has the little things for a shell shield or other kind of things. I'm kind of surprised they didn't give us wings to go with him. But, you know, whatever. So really quick, from the Mattel Creations website, I wanted to show you something that I missed when I recorded my original review. And it's this picture here. As we highlight this, the little blade things from the back of the throne can be hooked onto the back of the harness and used as weapons. Honestly, they don't look particularly good. If they'd gone ahead and given it a sword handle back here, that would have worked out better. But I just wanted to show you guys that real fast. Actually, I think that might be hidden underneath the hood when it's on there, this part of the hood. It's actually a pretty cool looking harness, to be honest with you. I think that they did a real good job on this design. Also, what's interesting to note is that we do have purple cloth here and black on the inside. I'm not sure how they do that because it does look like it is, in fact, a single piece of cloth. And I am not a person who's very familiar with how materials work. So if you know how that does, please let me know. And there is some paint rub that's happened here, if you can see that. So I'll put that head back in place. Let's see if we can get him to sit down in his throne. Alrighty. So that's not going well. His butt definitely does not hit the back of it. At least it wasn't the way I was putting it on there. Let's see if we move the feet a little bit, angle them back. Oh, now he fell off. I'm actually pretty sure his butt's not even touching the bottom of the throne actually like this, but whatever. We have him in place there. So again, okay, those look pretty cool. Throne, seating there. Let's adjust that. Let's see. Is there a good spot to put the Havoc staff, though? Let's see if I can get it between his knee and the armature there. The Havoc sword. Get his foot back. Okay. So if we want to get everything on top of this sucker, that's about what we have to do right there. I think this will make a good centerpiece for your Turtles of Grayskull series of figures. And this is definitely going to be prominently displayed in my collection. Although I do wonder, that might be too tall for the height of the shelves that I usually use. So that could be a bit of an issue. Although I guess I could actually take the head off the top of that if I needed to. But then these things are kind of high too. I guess I'll find out when I do the display. Here we've got from the side. You can kind of see here that Skele-Shredder here, his butt's not really touching the bottom and his back's leaning back. So there's that. Back of the throne with him on it. It is a shame that these things aren't all connected and move at the same time. That would have been kind of a really badass feature, honestly. So you just got to decide how you want them all to sit, I guess. But yeah, that's our Skele-Shredder. But based on the comic story, again, that we saw, it just doesn't feel like it really rolls into the Reptile Wars very well. Because it just goes for one, group of people who, well, for all intents and purposes, used him and abused him. When you get right down to it, I'm not going to say that Shredder's a nice guy or anything. But in this entire comic series, I mean, he's been kind of fucked over by the different villains from MOTU. So there is that. But why don't you guys go ahead and tell me what you think of this? The story, for one thing, I am kind of curious, and, the figure itself. I do believe that the combo head here is the best head in here. So that is the one that's going to be displayed. And since they do have a spot for the other two heads, I'll leave them there too. Like I said, great display piece. And if you enjoyed this look at the SkeleShredder San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which was surprisingly easy to get, unlike the Hasbro cluster after sale, please feel free to shred that like button. And if you want to see more of my nonsense in the future, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace and love. Whoops. And I just screwed that up.